Welcome to Season 3 of You're Not Alone with Townsend. My name is Townsend, and if you've followed my journey, you know that I'm not only a musician, but I'm also a mental health advocate. I use my platform to help spread awareness, love, build community, and simply help people feel less alone in their struggles. In the last couple of years, I've had the chance to interview people from all over the world about a huge variety of mental health topics, and I cannot thank each of you enough for helping us continue to shine a light on the world. Every other week this season, we're bringing you the best interviews we've had. Make sure to like and follow this podcast if you're enjoying it. And if you want to keep up with everything we've got going, follow us on socials at Townsend T Music. Hope you enjoy. What is up, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of You're Not Alone with Townsend. I'm, of course, your host, Townsend. Sometimes you get tongue-tied there, but we are so excited. Today, I'm going to be chatting with a friend of a friend that I recently met, and she's just the kindest soul I've ever met, Miss Abby. We're going to be chatting about Huntington's disease, which I actually know a little bit about. I have a friend from high school whose mother went through this, so I've kind of kept up with this journey, and she had posted about kind of going through this with family, and so I was like, gotta have her on, gotta talk about it. So Abby, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm very excited to raise some awareness and get it out there.
Listen to that twang though. I like it. Are you from Arkansas originally?
I am. Yeah.
Duh.
Which surprises people though, because I lived in Colorado for 9 years. So
what? Okay.
Yeah,
you
can't get rid of the cornbread.
That's it. I was about to say, you sound like you're straight from Arkansas. Yeah, I love it. Where people in Colorado were like, where are you from?
Yeah, it was always like, dude, gnarly, bro, and I'm over here like trying to fit it into high school, and I'm, Southern twang, and I'm like, that's gnarly,
gnarly, man.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yes, absolutely. I love it so much. So I like to have my guests kind of introduce themselves because I feel like you know yourself best. I would just butcher it probably. So introduce yourself. Who is Abby? Your name, your age, job, whatever you want my listeners to know about you.
Well, I'm Abby Peterman. I'm 30. You can definitely tell because I'm starting to get the grays. It's great.
Girl, it's just wisdom, signs of wisdom.
I like that. I call them, sparkles in my hair.
That's it. All sparkles. I'm getting so many sparkles.
We love sparkles. I work 3 different jobs right now.
Okay.
Which it's fun. It's fun. I work in insurance, and then I'm a booking manager, as you know, for Willie Ray Music, which of course keeps me on my toes.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also own a candle business, so I'm doing that, and then just started back to school. Actually start the end of this month, so
wow, cool. Good for you. Wowza, what a busy girl. I love it. I'm always down for supporting entrepreneurs, but especially female entrepreneurs. Like I said, you're just the kindest soul, so I hope the best comes out of all of it for you, for sure.
Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, we're going to hop into it. Like I said, Abby had mentioned on Facebook a little bit about Huntington's disease. And like I said, it really stuck out to me because it's something you don't see a lot. I'm familiar with it, but I feel like a lot of people aren't. So let's define Huntington's disease. What does that even mean? Are you enjoying this conversation? This project is funded by patrons and sponsors, so if you like what you hear and you'd like to help us continue changing lives in 2024, we would love to have you join the family. Reach out to us at townsendtmusic@hotmail.com if you'd like to be a sponsor, or hop on patreon.com/townsendtmusic to join the patron family. As a thank you, you're going to receive extra podcast questions and content every episode, discounts, exclusive content, and so much more. So join the family and let's continue changing lives.
It's really a disease essentially just where nerve cells in the brain are just breaking down over time. So really what I like to compare it to is like having ALS, Parkinson's, and Alzheimer's disease all in one. It's just really, I can't remember the link, But I was looking at stuff the other night, just kind of going, okay, let's refresh, like, what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And someone had said, like, it's the most devastating disease out there because, I mean, it's just a complete mess. Like,
Yeah.
anything and everything that could go wrong eventually just kind of hits at once.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to describe it and a great way for people to relate. Okay, think about ALS, think about Parkinson's, think about dementia. It's kind of close to all those things wrapped in one. It's almost like it's something about like protein. It produces a bunch of that. It almost eats away your brain. I believe I remember.
Mhm.
Don't quote me on this, but I believe it eats away at like what we call the basal ganglia, which is the bottom of your brain. And it eats away at a couple of those parts, which eventually affect everything, speech, movement, all of those different things, cognition. And so it eventually takes over everything, right?
Absolutely.
Ooh, Lordy mercy. That's crazy. Now, like I said, I've seen you post about your sister's journey. She's the one who got the diagnosis. When did she first get that diagnosis? Like, how did it become obvious to y'all?
So we've known really since she was like 14, 15,
Wow.
especially like driving age. So, like 16, I was scared to death to get in the car with that girl. Like, everything on
Wow.
the right side was like, okay, let's go on a ride. And I knew, like, okay, I'm buckling up because we're probably going to hit a trash can, a couple curbs, everything. But anyways, we didn't get an actual diagnosis until April of 2010. And
How old was
that
she at that time?
28.
Wow.
She was
Okay.
28. So,
Wow.
I mean, we went a long time trying to figure out, like, hey, what is going on? Because, I mean, she started out as a teen just real clumsy, and we thought, well,
Mhm.
that's just her being a kid, and she's just vibrant and full of life. So, she just falls a lot.
Right.
Um, and so it was, for me, it was kind of just how my sister was because there's that age gap with her being 10 years older than me. So I didn't think much of it. My parents kind of suspected something, but with them not being her biological parents, there was a lot of questions.
Yeah. So your sister was adopted. How old were they? How old was she when they adopted her?
She was 2 weeks old.
Oh, okay. Brand new
Yes.
baby.
Brand spanking new. Still had the same, like that brand new scent and everything.
Girl, that's a brand new baby. So they get this brand new baby. There's no heads up or anything like that, right? Okay. So
No,
this is just like
no.
brand new baby. We don't know any genetics, things like that. They bring her into this world and she started showing signs that young. That's wild.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, they had her tested for everything under the sun, really.
Yeah.
They had cardiologist even because she was passing out a lot as her disease progressed, like especially when she was pregnant at 18 with her first child,
Hmm.
and she was passing out a lot, and everyone was like, well, what's that all about? So tested her with that, and the cardiologist was like, she's just looking for attention, she's fine.
You're
I mean,
kidding.
I kid you not, like that was probably the most frustrating thing with trying to figure out with her what was going on because everyone was going, she's fine, nothing's wrong, and she's
Wow.
going, I know something's not right. So
So
that
she
was
was
nuts.
aware of it as well. So she's like, something's off.
Hmm.
Oh my
Which
gosh, that's so tough.
she didn't like to talk about it though,
Sure, who
because
does?
everything was. She's always been the sunshine baby, like growing up, I was always like, Lisa's your favorite, she's a sunshine kid. Um,
Who
but
can't drive, but whatever.
right, exactly. Like we just hit two new trash cans, but it's fine. Um, but even her at times, she'd be like, I know something's not right, but let's just keep on living, and that's what she did. She just lived every day to the fullest.
That's amazing. So we kind of talked about she was passing out, not a very good driver, which are some major symptoms. What are some other first things that y'all noted, like signs and symptoms that were really like, okay, something is up?
Really just the clumsiness.
Yeah.
And then we could really, really tell, like mid teens, we were like, okay, like this isn't her, and
Yeah.
part of us, like, we all wanted to blame, well, she's a teenager, she's just being ornery. But whenever I say like she full sent it, she full sent it. So, lots of mood disorders and things like that we were trying to work through, which, therapists were going, there's something, but we don't know. And it was a whole lot of passing off really for her, to where it didn't matter who she went to go see about stuff. They were like, here, go see this person. But yeah, I mean, it was the beginning stages, mostly just clumsy and just very rebellious.
Wow.
You never knew what that girl was going to do, which, I mean, kudos to her. Like like I said, she full sent it. She lived life to the fullest.
Yeah.
But some of it was like, whoo, girl,
passing out a couple times on the way there. Hitting a few trash cans while living life. Yeah. That's wild. Well, you mentioned that. I remember something about, because these neurons are basically just dying off, it can affect your mood and your mental health, right? Can it like cause some kind of psychosis, bipolar, OCD, things like that? Those can come up with Huntington's.
And hers, we were blessed. We've been blessed all through this. Hers really has just been like OCD.
Yeah.
Like, her thing was everything had to be perfect, everything had its place, but it was like in the sweetest ways.
Yeah.
Like it'd be like, okay, a birthday or a holiday's coming up. So she'd straight up take hours in the card section at like Walmart or Hallmark and just like read every single card.
Oh my gracious.
So that was like one of her things that went in with like the OCD and things like that. I mean, she's seriously just been like I hate it, because I'm like, why are you such a good person?
Why are you so good?
Yeah.
As a sister, you hate to admit that.
I know.
You hate to admit it. That's why. So actually, several of these podcasts that I've had in the past and recently, we talk about people kind of slipping through the cracks and just something is wrong. And I know that about myself or someone else, and just literally having to be an advocate for yourself to get a diagnosis. And it sounds like that's what happened with your sister, just got passed from professional to professional because they didn't know. I bet that had a huge impact on not only her mental health, but your parents. Just like, are we making this up? Is this a real thing? Is something really wrong? Like I said, is she being an ornery teenager? Like, how awful. I bet your parents struggled just with that aspect of it.
Absolutely. I mean, especially once she was diagnosed, they were like, any of the times that they doubted, or any of us really had doubted her at all, it was like, oh, so sorry, because
sorry about that.
Yeah. But then, I would say my parents have been the biggest advocates for her, because
Absolutely.
when she wouldn't put her foot down and go, no, I know something's wrong, because she didn't want people to think she was like, a hypochondriac or something like that, which that's okay if you are, I mean, I think I have a touch of hypochondria.
I think we all do a little bit. WebMD gave it to us.
Yes.
Yeah, I blame that. Our generation, we just Google like a runny nose and it's like, we're dying. This is it.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, that is so tough. So, okay, how old is your sister now?
She just turned 40. Well, I say just turned 40. She just turned 40 in January, so we're about to hit 41.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're pushing 41. She's been showing signs pretty much her whole life. Got a diagnosis at 28, correct? Wowza. Okay. Is Huntington's, is it hereditary, genetic? Does it come out of the blue?
It's genetic. So we've actually found out that it does not skip a generation. So when someone with HD has children, those children have a 50-50 chance of inheriting that. But yeah, I mean, we were able to kind of piece together some things through like ancestry.com, and actually ended up being super blessed to meet some of Lisa's biological siblings.
Wow.
There's apparently like 9 of them, I think, based out of Oklahoma. And a couple of them have unfortunately passed due to complications of Huntington's.
Okay.
And her biological mother passed away at 41. And at the time, it was unknown, is what they put, unknown causes, because Huntington's wasn't actually discovered until I think it was 94,
Oh my
93.
goodness, that's not that long ago.
Right, right.
Wow. Okay. So there's 50% chance. So when the mother, so reminding people she's adopted. And so
Mhm.
this gene doesn't necessarily run in your family. So that y'all are like, what in the world? I know you may not know, but you wonder if the mom knew something was up. I wonder if she knew it was genetic and just gave y'all this baby and was like, good luck. I'm not going to tell you what you got.
Right,
And she
right,
maybe not have known, but
right.
wow.
There's so much that we're still trying to piece together,
Okay.
but there's also that aspect where it's like, we're kind of to the point of just being worried about now because my sister
Yeah.
does have two children. They don't want to be tested, and I respect that. That's one of those things. Like Lisa, my sister, was like, just let's let them decide what they want to do with
Wow.
everything.
Now, how old are
So
her children now?
they're they're grown.
Yeah.
The baby is 18. He just graduated high school. Very proud of him. And her daughter is about to be 20, and she's a
Okay.
mommy herself now.
Wow, I
So
love it. So they're old enough to make that decision and decide that's not what I want to do. It either happens or it doesn't. Wow.
exactly. Yeah.
Wow. Props to them. That's so brave. I love the braveness. Just it is what it is. Happens or it doesn't.
Yeah.
That's wild. So thinking back about the biological mother, it could have possibly been she knew something was wrong, but that wasn't even a diagnosis then. I also love that you pointed out it wasn't even a thing till like 1994, which is not that long ago. So I
Yeah.
love that's something I like to point out with a lot of these diagnoses, and people just think the medical system is just ruined. But I like to remind people we're learning. Everybody's learning all the time. This is the reason I have the podcast is to educate people, to get more people aware that these things do exist. You're not alone. I hate that your sister fell through all the cracks, but how amazing that they finally found an answer. And now you guys are spreading awareness for people so more people don't fall through the cracks. Like that's pretty
Absolutely.
cool. Pretty cool.
Absolutely.
Okay, so learning a little bit more about it, does Huntington's affect a certain population or anything like that?
So that was a great question because I'm still like learning every single day
Sure.
something. But I did read up on that not too long ago, and it said that more or less it's the European population. Um, so, of course, that sent me down a long rabbit hole where I was
You're
like,
welcome.
yeah, yeah, thanks. Uh, but yeah, I think it's more the white people end up with it.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not sure. Which to me, I was like, because my sister is she has Indian, Cherokee Indian in her.
Wow.
So I thought, well, she should have been able to dodge that then.
Yeah.
But I
Wow.
guess it's mostly just European descent, and then
Yeah. How
yeah,
interesting. Yeah. I think I read something about European was the top and like Asian descent is more towards the bottom. If
yes.
that's correct. I'm not even sure. There was something, do you know how common it is? Like I know it's not a very common thing, but
I want to say it's like super, super rare.
yeah.
I don't want to give out numbers because I get them mixed up, but it's either 1 in 10,000 or 1 in 100,000. So that's
That's
a
a
big
large
gap,
gap there. So
but it's
yeah,
very rare.
it is rare. So I think I think I have heard it's between like one in every 10 to 20,000 people can have this disease. And then like you said, it's genetic, so it's 50-50 shot. It doesn't skip a generation. So you just keep having kids and it keeps going, which is incredibly interesting to me. So
Yes.
your sister, how did, like we said, she started showing signs about 14, got her diagnosis at 28. How did you see her diagnosis progress? Like through those years, did you have to watch her start switching to a walker? Did her cognition change? Like, what did that look like for you?
That was the hardest part
Yeah.
for everybody.
Mm.
Just because she always was so independent and like, ready to go all the time. But yes, she ended up. eventually using a walker.
Mhm.
And she hated that thing. Like, it
Oh,
had like the tennis balls on it and all that stuff. She was like, I'm supposed to be young and hot, and I've got this walker in my way. So,
I bet that is hard. I'm not 85.
yeah,
What is this?
yeah. I kept telling her, I was like, we can bedazzle it,
Yes,
like it'll be
queen.
okay.
Put a horn
But,
on it, some
I mean,
glitters.
yes, exactly. Throw some streamers on there, sis. But she ended up trying to do away with that. Like, I mean, there was one point where she even like left the walker in the middle of the mall and just kept walking. And I was like,
I
hey,
I kind of
you
love it
know,
though. Good for her. Might
yeah,
be dangerous. I don't recommend that for people, but good for her for trying.
yeah. But that was about the time that we decided, okay, if you're not going to do that, if that's not your preference, how about a wheelchair just for long walks? So that's kind of how that transitioned in was okay, let's do just like a normal, fold up wheelchair.
Yeah.
Um, and then that ended up turning into her full blown wheelchair that it's you can't drive it on your own because it wouldn't have helped her with
Yeah.
her Korea and stuff. She has a lot of movement now that's involuntary. So that started kind of trickling in too, but it was very slow. And now it's to the point, she's in bed, she's bedridden um, for the most part now. And I mean, her legs go flying, her arms go flying, and everything. So that's been a big aspect of things too. Once it got to the point where she couldn't even control her body to sit correctly, it turned into wheelchair into bed.
Mm.
So
Mm.
she
Goodness, that's wild.
bed.
Yeah, yeah. You were talking about, and I'm glad you brought that up. One of the main symptoms of this is those involuntary movements. And so y'all
Yes.
start seeing that big time, huh?
Yes. And then eventually it ended up her speech as well. So
Okay.
she's not able to speak. She lost her ability to really swallow. So, like to eat for my sister, she decided she wanted to sign a DNR. She didn't want to like feeding tubes or anything like that whenever the time came.
I love
And
it.
so but see, our mom is just as hard headed as Lisa is
Yeah.
about things. And
Yeah.
so she's like, okay, well, then I'm going to feed you with a straw.
Yeah.
So my mom will sit there with my sister with these high protein drinks and hold her lips shut for her and tell her to drink. And so she's getting her nutrients that way. So, that can take like all day just to get a few drinks down her, but hey, they're doing it.
Wow. Your
They're
mom's
like
a
a power
rock
team.
star.
They are a
Wow.
power team. Lisa's
Yeah.
actually outlived the doctor's life expectancy, and I genuinely think it's all due to her will to live. And I think for sure she wanted to live to meet her grandson. I mean that was they're besties. He loves his Lily. Um,
No.
but, between that and my mom just really pushing through and going, no, we're going to do this. As
How
long as you want
cool.
to fight, I'm fighting with you. So,
Man, I love that. What a team. I love that. She's got amazing support. So I want to come back to her prognosis and age and everything, but you mentioned DNR, which would be like a do not resuscitate type thing. Now, did y'all have
yes.
this conversation before she went downhill? Like y'all were like, okay, we know this is coming. This is what my wishes are.
Yes.
Wow.
So,
What a tough
right after she was
conversation.
diagnosed, yeah, it was brutal. I mean, especially for my parents, but really Lisa, I mean, who wants to
Yeah.
plan their own funeral,
At 28, when you get the diagnosis. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, with two young babies. And, that's like the
Yes.
time that life is supposed to be thriving. Um, but yeah, it was shortly after she was diagnosed in 2010. So I think maybe 2011, 2012, whenever it kind of hit like reality, like this is really going to happen. So, Lisa made sure that my parents knew this is what I want, this is how I want things done. And then for me, she was like, I'm not going to be around to watch my kids go through all of these milestones. So I need you there.
Oh my
So
goodness.
that's been a blessing for me that an honor,
Yeah.
really, that she was like, fill my shoes basically with my kids.
Wow, wow. That's what I was saying. I wanted to make sure that was clear. I said that is so cool. I was referring to the fact your sister was like at 28, 29, was like, this is what I want. And this is what I
Yes,
want to do. And that you guys were able to have that conversation before it was too late and she wasn't able to communicate that. So I love that y'all did that and were proactive because a lot of times what will happen is people will lose the ability to communicate and then you don't know what you want. And families are left guessing and so they could have stuck a feeding tube in her, and she didn't want that. So that is amazing. God, what a dream team you
yes.
guys have. So
No,
here's the
it's
deal. If I get sick, I'm going to need you and your mom to hop in because y'all sound like y'all are amazing caregivers and you do quite the research. So here's your permission.
well, I'm warning you now. Now that you said that, even if it's like a sniffle, I'm going to show up at your doorstep with some soup and be like, "Drink
And a
up, sis."
candle.
Yes,
I
of course, a
somehow,
candle.
yeah, we have mutual friends who introduced us, and I somehow believe this. I believe you would show up at my door and be like, I heard you sneeze from 7 cities away. You must get better. I am here to help you.
Yes, that's
I
me.
love it.
Let's
We need
go.
more people like that. We need more people like that. I love it so much. So I want to come back to the lifespan. So she got diagnosed with Huntington's disease, and you said she outlived what the doctor said. What were they telling you guys as far as prognosis?
So she actually has juvenile Huntington's
Oh,
disease,
wow. Okay.
which with that, it progress. It's the same thing as Huntington's essentially, but it just moves faster because it starts younger.
Wow.
So they've all said, okay, we give her 10 to 15 years. Well, that was 2010 that she was diagnosed,
Mm.
and here we are almost to 2025.
Right.
She's still going.
She said,
So,
watch me.
yes, and that's
Watch me.
exactly that is her. That is her 110%. And I like to point out to people that having HD is equivalent to basically be a prisoner in a body that just won't work anymore
Right.
because she's still in there.
Yeah.
Of course her thoughts are slower and things like that, but she's still in there.
Sure.
And so that's something that I like to kind of remind doctors about, almost like rubbing their face sometimes whenever they're like,
Yeah.
well, she's towards the end of her life. And I'm going, but she's in there and you don't know her will to just keep going.
Right.
So, yeah.
Wow. Okay. So if you don't mind, I'd like to get a little bit more personal. So she's got two kids. She's bedridden. Does she have a full-time someone living in with her? Is that your mom's job? Is she in a
So,
home?
yes. So we're supposed to have help. Like Lisa's been kicked out of hospice 4 times, not for being a
Oh,
rebel, but
I was about to say, what'd
because
she do? Lisa, what did you
no,
do?
but just because she outlived that,
Right. She was like,
that
I'm
time
not
expectancy.
ready. I told you.
Exactly. So it's like 3 or 4 times now, and it's getting to the point where it's like, who else is out there because we're running out of people.
Yes.
But she has palliative care,
Okay.
a palliative care team that comes in. And I think actually we just transitioned back to hospice
Sure.
because she was just recently hospitalized. And once again, they said, we don't think she's going to make it. Well, she pulled through it. So,
I love this.
yes,
I can't wait to see Lisa on the other side and be like, sister,
yes,
high five. You are stubborn as a mule.
yes,
That is
yes.
awesome. Okay, so when you have palliative care or hospice care, they're with you all the time, help pain relief, help those spastic movements kind of calm down a little bit, kind of help
Yeah.
feed her, everything, right?
Yes, which I mean, our care team is they're angels. Every single one of them that have to deal with the D clerks are angels because I mean, my mom being a mom and being my mom steps in all the time. So, the care team will be trying to do stuff and of course my mom's like, get
Yeah,
out of
I
the
got
way,
it.
like
I
this
got
is
it.
how you do it. And
Yeah.
she does better if you do that. But yeah, so she's got a good team between everything. And the state of Arkansas is really, really good about getting the assistance that's needed. And our professionals are our med team out here is amazing. And like I said, with Lisa going from a couple different hospice and palliative cares and things like that over the years out here, I mean, I can vouch for all of them just about, it's like
Yeah.
they're all so amazing.
Oh, that's so wonderful to hear. Going off of that, and as we kind of wrap up, where did y'all find the most information, the most support? How the heck did you find this amazing care?
Really, it started with HDSA. It's Huntington's Disease Society of America,
Okay.
and they're based out of New Jersey.
Now, did you
But they
find
have,
them like on a website or?
yes.
Okay.
So it was actually Instagram, back wwhenever like hashtagging was like, you didn't stop hashtagging, you just spoke in
You
hashtag.
just, yeah.
Yes. And that was how I found HDSA. And I remember busting into my sister's room and I was like, Lisa, guess what I found? So we started talking about that and got in communication with them actually. And they said that they had an actual chapter in Colorado. And then whenever we moved back to Arkansas, they had an affiliate, which is now a chapter.
Wow.
So that's been extremely helpful in resources, finding not only resources, but just other folks that have gone through the same things or similar that you can kind of compare and contrast war stories. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, like what's your loved one with this going through, or what are you as an individual going through? So
Wow.
it's been really great.
Yeah, how cool. I love that. I love that. We didn't really touch on this, but what did like going through these years of progressively kind of going downhill, did she go through like physical therapy and speech therapy or did they just kind of let it do its thing?
She did a lot of speech therapy
Yeah.
because that was the hardest part,
Yeah.
is her losing that ability to
Yeah.
to vocalize anything. She couldn't say, "Hey, I'm in pain," or
Yeah.
"This is bothering me," or anything like that. So we pushed for that,
Yeah.
and she did that for a while, and that also helped her. Speech therapy helped a lot with strengthening those muscles so that she was able to drink those protein drinks,
Right.
which was extremely crucial with her
Right.
saying, "Hey, I don't want any feeding tubes." It's like, okay, sis, well, you've got to keep, drinking those protein drinks. So we've got to keep you healthy and everything.
That's right. Did they
Um,
ever try a communication board? Did it ever get to that point where she'd point to pictures or?
no, whenever it got to that point, she was too shaky already.
Yeah,
So
true.
it was just,
Yeah.
I think that would have been more of one of those things that she probably would have like yeeted across the room at some point.
She'd have
So,
left it in the middle of the mall like her walker.
yeah,
She'd be like, I'm sorry, I don't need that. Really?
exactly. Yeah.
I love Lisa's spirit. I'm not gonna lie. Lisa's kind of my spirit animal. I love it so much. Like, I'm kind of a people pleaser, so I'd be afraid to do what Lisa does, but Lisa's the one that like does what we all want to do, like kick that walker across the room and be like,
And
I
she
don't
does
want
it with
that.
grace.
Yeah.
Yes.
She's like so happy.
Yeah. I mean, she'll straight up tell you off with a smile on your face, and you're like, I don't know how to feel about this.
I
Like,
think I'm okay with that. Yeah.
yeah.
I love it. That is so cool. Abby, it has been such a pleasure chat. I could chat with you all day. It's been such a
Yeah.
pleasure. I feel like I learned so much. Thank you for joining me and my listeners.
Thank you again for having us.
It is
We
such a pleasure.
absolutely love you.
Stop it right
And
now.
well, we do, and you are a total blessing.
Oh,
You are a blessing to all of us.
Stop it right now, Abby. You're so crazy. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right, listeners, you know how this works. Abby and I are going to keep chatting. We're going to do some personal questions. We're going to get to know Abby outside of her sister, kind of a little bit about her. If you want to hear those the Patreon podcast exclusive questions, hop on patreon.com/Townsend T Music. That's actually how we keep this project going, is from support from patrons and sponsors. So hop on there if you want to hear the rest of the questions. If not, we will see you next time.
If you'd like to hear the rest of this interview, visit patreon.com/Townsend T Music. And don't forget, you can also watch the interviews on our YouTube channel at Townsend T Music YouTube.
If you're looking to buy or sell, I have the perfect realty company for you. Clark & Co. Realty is located in the Benton, Bryant, Arkansas area. And they understand that buying or selling a home is more than just a transaction. It's a life-changing experience. That's why their team of highly seasoned real estate professionals is dedicated to providing exceptional, personalized services for all their clients. They truly take great pride in the relationships they build, and they always work relentlessly on the client's behalf to help them achieve their perfect real estate goals. They always have the client in mind, and I can speak firsthand when I say how reliable, trustworthy, and quick they were. When I was looking to buy my first home, they were there with me every step of the way, answering every question I could think of. They showed me a great amount of knowledge and patience through the process. It's no wonder they've won so many awards for their outstanding services and their excellent relationships with clients. So if you're looking to buy or sell, there is no better option than Clark & Co. Realty.